Hello and welcome to Exothermic Plays Games. I'm Exothermic and the date today is Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. That means it's the 58th day of ranking my favorite video games through each day of the year. Coming in at number 309 is Star Ocean. That's right, we're getting back-to-back JRPGs that didn't actually get a North American release. Star Ocean originally released in Japan in 1996 for the Super Famicom, and any release outside of it was scrapped due to a variety of reasons. 12 years later, a PSP port called Star Ocean First Departure was released on the PSP, and the version you're seeing here is the Switch remaster First Departure R. That being said, my original exposure to the game was a poorly made fan translation of the original release, so believe me when I tell you that apart from better graphics and the English language, everything you're going to see and hear was present in that original release, including even just the idea of voice acting.
Look out! Give us a little fun, huh?
That's right, this was a Super Nintendo title with voice acting, and fluid real-time combat controlling several characters. Like every game in the franchise, First Departure is a blend of fantasy and sci-fi themes, with at least one spacefaring group finding an excuse to break intergalactic law and intervene on an underdeveloped planet, bringing some of the locals up to speed. The most impressive thing about the setting is how masterfully the franchise blends the technology and magic. Magic in this game is called symbology, and the short version of the scientific explanation is that symbology is essentially accessing the coding of the universe in order to adjust things around you. You'll get some more on that in a much later video though. Combat is pretty simple. You control one character at a time and can run around and attack enemies both near and far. There's a menu you can open to access any symbology that character has, as well as items or retreat. It would be pretty annoying to have to go into that menu all the time for spellcaster characters, which is one of the reasons you're allowed to assign 2 spells or other special abilities to the shoulder buttons for quick access. Each time you cast a spell, there's a little action bar underneath that character's portrait which has to refill before you're able to cast anything else. Additionally, each time you use a spell or skill in combat, the game tracks that, and as you use it more and more, it actually gets better. The way it gets better can change as you go, but some ways are casting speed, projectile speed, and overall potency. That's just one way to improve your characters, however. In true JRPG fashion, you gain experience points from defeating enemies, and your characters level up. In Star Ocean, you gain skill points that you can spend to make your character better at all sorts of things, even non-combat stuff. They really go in-depth on some of these skills, which can combine to also determine your proficiency at crafting items, such as scavenging for raw materials like rice, then refining it into a finished product with the cooking skill. As a pro tip for people wanting to check the game out, don't spend any of your skill points until you gain access to the determination skill. Leveling that up lowers the point cost of everything else for the rest of the game. The main things holding this game back from being much higher on my rankings is the repetitiveness of the combat. While it all mechanically works very well, almost every fight can be approached uniformly, simply using your best abilities and basic attacks as long as you position well with occasional healing thrown out. Even the boss fights don't really change the strategy that much, other than keeping in mind they hit a bit harder and have more health. All in all, the first entry to the Star Ocean game holds up extremely well, and despite its ambition for the time, really delivered with its real-time action combat, in-depth crafting, non-combat character exploration, and even voice acting on a large-scale Super Nintendo JRPG. Join me tomorrow as I talk about the 308th game on my list where I try desperately not to eat myself.